Recently we saw on Tyshawn's Instagram a pair of bootleg fake Tyshawn Adidas shoes. There were some major telling signs that these were fakes, so it piqued our interest. We decided to pull back the curtain and dive in on the billion-dollar fake skateboard product industry. We were curious, we asked the questions. Where are these fakes from? How are they made? And who's buying them? Guys, I'm Levi, this is Stretch Up, connecting you to skateboarding. And if you like this content, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll keep giving you more videos. The history of people knocking off skateboard brands goes back to the beginning of time. But obviously, as the skateboard industry has grown and grown and grown, so has the bootleg industry. If you followed us for a long time, you know in the early days we used to talk about something called cheap shoes. Basically, with S etnies in America, people were making a cheap knockoff version of these shoes. So they decided to do their own knockoff version called sheep shoes in order to compete with the other knockoff price point brands. We also went on to tell that at that time, the US had really high tariffs for importing canvas into their country. And so the sheep shoes ended up being actually the same price that their suede and leather S etnies in America shoes were. We also talked about the Hosoi Skull Skates hammerhead boards. Back in the 80s, they were selling at least 5,000 of these boards every month. And so it wasn't long before the knockoff industry came in and were selling their own version of these hammerhead boards. Nowadays, it seems like the knockoff versions are being pumped by the millions out of China. And so you can basically get a fake version of all of your favorite shoes and clothes. On there, you can find fake boards from Zero, DGK, Baker. There's even fake Supreme, fake Spitfire Formula 4s, and of course, Bone Swiss. Be careful. If you're buying skateboard stuff online, here's some things to look out for to make sure it's not a fake. Number one, where are the boards made? If you're buying a board online from Baker, Antihero, Supreme, if it says it's made in China, it's a fake. Every real skate shop online has these boards and they're made in Mexico. This also goes for Bone Swiss bearings. There are so many big operations out there selling fake Bone Swiss bearings. Swiss bearings are made in Switzerland, not China. Number two, cost. If you see a skate product online that's selling way less than everywhere else, that's a pretty big red flag. Bone Swiss bearings cost more than $20 to make. There's no way that a website could sell them for that price. So if you see Bone Swiss bearings on Amazon for 20 bucks, they're fakes. There's a big operation on that. We have a whole post on our website that goes through the differences of real Bone Swiss and fake ones. Hit the link below to check that out. Here's a really good reason why you should be supporting your local skateboard shop, even if you're buying on their online store. Plus, Jeff Bezos doesn't even really skate. And the one time he did, he was caught pushing Mongo. As we went down this rabbit hole, we noticed a lot of Spitfire Formula 4s that were online for a lot cheaper. All Formula 4s are made in Mexico, not in China. So if you see them on Amazon for 20 bucks and they're not made in Mexico, they're fakes. Number three, and this should go without saying, if it's a really old graphic or it's spelled wrong, it's not real, it's fake. Now, the thing is, China has some really loose laws around intellectual property and copyright laws. So you're gonna see a lot of wacky fakes.
A large-scale smuggling bust. The feds seized 300,000 pairs of fake sneakers that were headed into the tri-state.
Now, usually the fakes are close, and then there's the fakes of the fakes that go pretty far off. Here's a fun fact. If you're shopping in China, there are a few huge Supreme stores there. But get this, fully fake Supreme stores with their own Supreme clothing, Supreme everything. And the crazy thing is, Supreme can't win the lawsuit to shut them down. One of our favorite funny knockoff brands is Costin skateboards and longboards.
Dude, they have an Instagram page.
No.
Costin Skateboards. They follow us.
No, no. Wait, what if this is a real brand and we're calling them out as like a Chinese fake?
Dude, you know what else is funny? Is that is the like Costin Lakai logo.
Oh, yeah.
So they took his like Costin Lakai shoe logo.
Oh, that's rough.
Dude, knee pads.
What are these trucks?
Should we put these guys on blast?
I think we probably should. Even their logo is like ripped off of like, that's like the font.
Oh,
for it,
dude, fully.
which is like, it's the Lakai font, but in the Costin.
Let's do like a deep dive for like 30 seconds on this. Let's talk about these guys for a minute. They have a full brand of trucks, wheels, bushings, decks, safety equipment, and worst of all, longboards. They've launched the entire brand under Eric Costin's name. And get this, let's take a close look at their logo. It is a direct ripoff of the Costin Lakai logo. The part that's a little humorous about this, but actually pretty gnarly, is if a skateboard company gets ripped off, you can tell the difference between real and fake. In this case, Eric Costin is a person. He is a GOAT in skateboarding. He's a legend. And there is a gnarly, really trash brand that is building their entire dynasty on the back of Eric Costin's name. Now, if there was a Levi Switzer brand out there, I'd be hyped because I'm nobody. But if you ever owned a skateboard, you know who Eric Costin is. Costin's legacy is pure. He hasn't taken energy drink sponsors or wax sponsors. Through and through, he was a very beloved core skateboarder, only to have his legacy absolutely crapped on by Costin skateboards. Although the skateboard hard goods industry of full-blown bootlegs and knockoffs and fakes is quite big. The holy grail, the juggernaut of fakes is the shoe industry. To give some perspective, the skate industry is this big. The shoe industry is this big. Everyone wears shoes, not everyone skates. Here's a number for you. The counterfeit shoe business is a $500 billion industry. One of the craziest facts that we've learned from being behind the curtain in the skateboard industry, almost none of your favorite skateboard brands make their own products. For example, there might be 2,000 deck brands out there, but there's only 3 to 5 factories that actually make boards. The same thing goes for shoes. You think of Nike. They're the biggest shoe brand in the entire world, but they don't own their own factories. They go somewhere, they source it out, they find a factory that will make their shoes. This is interesting because if you don't own the factories, then you are much more susceptible to fakes and knockoffs. As we mentioned earlier, the knockoff industry is a $500 billion industry. So we did some research and it turns out that 80% of all counterfeit goods made in every industry comes from one city in China. The city is called Putian, China, the capital of fake sneakers.
How common is this kind of work in Putian?
This is a very major industry. It forms pretty much the backbone of the local city economy.
They're going hard and the going is good. Honestly, everyone's got to eat, so I can respect the hustle. Nike estimates for every 2 real shoes they have on the market, there's 1 fake. That's a pretty good ratio for the black market hustlers.
I love counterfeits. It's the best feedback. It's better than like a great review on Vogue. Like if it's working to the point where someone else can profit off that, that means it's really working.
We looked into this, and there's basically 3 different grades of fake shoes: A grade, B grade, and C grade. Let's talk C grades. The differences are obvious. You're gonna have a completely different sole. There's gonna be typos. They're gonna come out in colorways that never came out. The shoe is just gonna be a mix of random things that kind of looks like the shoe, but very obvious fakes. B grade fakes are gonna have only slight differences. To the average person, they might never know they're fakes, but to a sneakerhead or someone who knows everything about the brand, they're gonna be able to notice it. Might be the height of the sole. Stitching might be off a little bit. The logo might be the wrong size. The tongue might be too thick. They might come with the wrong color laces. The boxes are off a little bit. The shoe size sticker is in the wrong place. The logo's too small on the box. They're just very slight differences that if you didn't know what to look for, you wouldn't notice. One of the things that we thought was crazy when looking out for fakes in the B grade was that people can smell the difference in the chemicals or the glue that are used to put the shoe together. One smells like this, the other smells like this. Apparently the fakes have a way more toxic smell, while the other smells like vanilla and butterflies. Now, A grade fakes. These are 99.9% the same. They're pretty much the same. The way they do this is they're made in the same factories, usually out of either overstock on materials, or the factory will order extra materials and then run the factory around the clock, so they're making the fakes overnight while the brand has it during the day. It's interesting to note that a lot of these factories have actually clamped down on this over the past few years because the brands would threaten to take their business away from their factory. So in order to keep their business, they stop making fakes. But you gotta respect the hustle, that if they're trying to stay alive and they don't care about juggernaut brands, they're making their own that look the same with huge margins. Would you rather spend $120 on a pair of New Balance shoes or $30 on a pair of Nev Bylanes? Are you going skating? Would you rather spend $80 on a pair of Vans or $20 on a pair of Vansonals? Here's a question. What are the funniest fakes that you've ever seen? Comment and let us know below. We gotta check them out. As we did a deep dive in this topic, it was a huge reminder why we need to support your local skate shop. You can walk in there trusting that all these brands are real and you're putting money back into skateboarders' pockets. So go out there and support your local skateboard shop. Stay out of the malls. Now, what brand should we do a deep dive and make a video on next? Let us know below. Guys, I'm Levi, this is Shred Shop connecting you to skateboarding, and you just watched behind the curtain of the billion-dollar fake skateboard industry. Guys, if you love what we do, check us out on other platforms, at Shred Shop or at Levi Switzer. Stay tuned for Comment of the Week. Oh, we got a spicy one for you, my guys. Comment of the Week. It's from my friend, Jax Sazerac. He said, When did Justin Bieber start dressing like a skater bro and making YouTube videos? Dude, thank you. This one comment balances out 100 Jason Mewes comments.